This story is titled, My Girlfriend Got a Promotion and Now Treats Me Like I'm Beneath Her Even Though We Used to Be Equals. When I first met Lisa, she was the kind of woman who made life feel like an adventure. She had this radiant energy, this ambition that was contagious. We were equals in every way. Partners, best friends, lovers. We shared everything. Dreams, struggles, even the last slice of pizza. I'm James, 32, a software developer. I've never been the type to seek the spotlight. I'm steady, dependable. I find joy in simple things. Coding late into the night, a warm cup of coffee in the morning, and the quiet comfort of knowing Lisa was always by my side. Or at least, she used to be. Lisa worked in marketing. She was good at what she did. Brilliant, actually. And when she got the news that she'd been promoted to senior director at her firm, I was over the moon for her. We popped champagne. We danced in our tiny apartment, laughing until our sides hurt. She deserved it. She worked for it. And I loved her for it. But something changed after that. It started small, almost imperceptible. The way she'd correct me in conversations, like my thoughts weren't quite right. The way she'd brush off my jokes at dinner parties, her laughter now reserved for her new colleagues. The way she started calling me Babe less and James more, like I was someone she had to keep at arm's length. At first, I told myself I was imagining it. A promotion was a big deal. Maybe she was just adjusting. But then, one night, as we sat across from each other at our favorite Italian restaurant, she did something she had never done before. She sighed, loudly. I had just finished telling her about a project at work, something I was genuinely excited about, and she sighed like she was exhausted just listening to me. James, she said, swirling her wine glass, her eyes drifting to something. Someone more interesting across the room. I just don't think this stuff is relevant anymore. I felt my stomach twist. What do you mean? She shrugged, finally looking at me. I mean, you're comfortable. You don't push yourself. You're just the same. And that's fine, but I'm moving up in the world, you know? I have bigger conversations now. Bigger conversations. I forced a smile, nodding like I understood. But inside, something broke. From then on, the distance between us grew wider. Her late nights at the office became more frequent. Our conversations became clipped. When we used to talk about the future, houses, trips, even baby names, she now brushed it all aside with a dismissive, let's not get ahead of ourselves. And then came the dinner party. One of her colleagues, a tall, sleek guy named Ethan, invited us over. Their apartment was twice the size of ours, a minimalist dream with expensive art on the walls and wine that tasted like it belonged in a museum. Lisa was in her element, laughing, tossing her hair, speaking in a voice that sounded different, more polished, more rehearsed. Then someone turned to me. And what do you do, James? I smiled, about to answer, but Lisa cut in before I could speak. He works in software, she said, waving a hand, her tone light but dismissive. It's cute. Cute, everyone chuckled. Not cruelly, not intentionally, but I felt it like a slap to the face. Later that night, as we drove home, I stared out the window, my hands clenched in my lap. Why did you say that? I finally asked. Lisa didn't even glance at me. Say what? That my job is cute. She sighed, rubbing her temple. James, you need to loosen up. It was a joke. A joke? I let out a dry laugh. It didn't feel like a joke. She rolled her eyes. You're being sensitive. Maybe I was. Or maybe I was finally seeing the cracks in the foundation we had built together. The breaking point came a week later. I had been feeling off all day, my stomach uneasy, my head pounding. But Lisa had made dinner reservations at an upscale restaurant, and I didn't want to disappoint her. We sat across from each other in the dim glow of candlelight, and I tried to keep up with the conversation. But my head was spinning, and at one point, I reached for my glass of water and knocked it over. The glass shattered on the table. The room fell silent. Lisa's face turned red, not with concern but with embarrassment. Oh my God, James, she hissed, dabbing at her dress. Can you just not be so clumsy? I muttered an apology, my hands shaking. The waiter rushed over, cleaning up the mess, and the moment passed. But something inside me hardened. Later that night, as we lay in bed, I stared at the ceiling, my heart pounding. The Lisa I fell in love with, the one who used to hold my hand when I was nervous, who used to laugh at my dumb jokes, who used to see me, was gone. And in her place was someone who treated me like an accessory she had outgrown. I turned onto my side, watching her sleep, wondering how much longer I could pretend that everything was okay, wondering when she had stopped loving me. The next morning, I woke up with a weight in my chest that I couldn't shake. Lisa was already up, sitting at the kitchen counter with her laptop open, typing furiously. She didn't even look up when I walked in. "Morning," I said, my voice dry. She gave a distracted, not even pausing in her work. I poured myself a cup of coffee, watching her. The woman who used to wake me up with playful kisses, who used to make silly pancake shapes on Sundays, was now acting like I was just there. "Lisa," I said finally, setting my mug down. She sighed, rubbing her temples. "James, I have a huge presentation today. Can we not do this right now?" "This?" I frowned. "What is this exactly?" She glanced at me, impatient. "The whole needy thing. The sulking. Whatever it is you're doing lately." I felt my jaw tighten, needy. She exhaled sharply, shutting her laptop with a thud. "James, I don't have time for this. I'm exhausted. I work so hard, and the last thing I need is to come home to a boyfriend who needs constant validation." A cold, sharp silence filled the space between us. I swallowed hard, my mind reeling. "I just want to understand," I said, my voice quieter now. "When did I stop being enough for you?" She looked at me like I had just spoken a language she didn't understand. "James, we're just in different places now. That's not my fault." I laughed under my breath, but there was no humor in it. "You say that like I've been standing still." She didn't answer. She just grabbed her bag and walked out the door. That day at work, I couldn't focus. The words she had said, "We're in different places," echoed in my mind. Was she right? Had I been stagnant while she kept moving forward? Or was this something else entirely? That night, she came home late again. I was sitting on the couch, laptop open, researching, looking at different career paths, ways to expand my skills. Not because I wanted to keep up with her, but because I wanted to prove something to myself. Lisa walked in, tossing her bag onto the chair. "Ugh, I need a drink." I stood, facing her. "Lisa, we need to talk." She groaned, kicking off her heels. "James, I really don't have the energy." "Make the energy." My voice was firmer than I expected. She blinked, clearly surprised. "Okay," she said, crossing her arms. "Talk." I took a deep breath. "Do you still love me?" She laughed, a sharp, humorless sound. "Is that what this is about? It's a simple question." She hesitated, just for a second. But it was long enough. My stomach dropped. "That's what I thought," I said, my voice hollow. She ran a hand through her hair, frustrated. "James, you're taking this the wrong way." "The wrong way?" I let out a bitter laugh. "Lisa, you don't even see me anymore. You talk down to me like I'm some clueless child. You roll your eyes when I speak. When did I become an inconvenience to you?" She sighed. "I've changed, James. My world has expanded, and I need someone who understands that." I nodded slowly, swallowing the lump in my throat. "You mean someone who fits into your new world?" She didn't deny it. That was all I needed to know. I walked past her into our bedroom and started packing a bag. Lisa followed me. "What are you doing?" "What does it look like?" I zipped up my suitcase. "I'm leaving." She scoffed. "James, don't be dramatic." I turned to her, meeting her gaze one last time. "You outgrew me, Lisa. At least have the courage to admit it." For the first time in months, she had no clever response. I walked out of the apartment without looking back, and for the first time in a long time, I felt free. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Have you ever experienced a relationship where someone changed in ways you never expected? Share your thoughts below.